Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly news update. Lots of little bits of news really this week rather than one major item. So let's make a start. Just a further update on the uniform changes and where we're going next with it. The pop-up shop opens next week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 2:45. If the weather is fine, they will be selling items from outside the Wizard of Oz picnic garden. If it's raining, it will just be inside in the school gym, and there'll be a pop-up changing area as well if you want to try things on. So that's really important, and they'll be selling the tracksuit, but also you'll be able to collect or order your jumper or cardigan through the free voucher that's coming out to you. It will coming out today, and you'll be able to redeem that voucher to get a free jumper or cardigan of your choosing for each child at the pop-up shop. If we've enough in stock, they'll be able to provide it there and then, and if not, you'll be able to place your orders for collection. And the pop-up shop is there, as I say, Monday, Wednesday and Friday next week in the Wizard of Oz picnic garden at 2:45. We will cone off the area where the shop is so we can appropriately social distance and set sensible queues in place, and we've planned out to clear the area so we haven't got huge crowds all gathering in one particular place. It will be carefully organised, and if we have to go inside or go inside to get changed, there'll be a one-way in, one-way out system to help manage that. Just little points on uniform. I think I'd like to reiterate the fact that the school isn't making any money from this at all. Nothing at all. It's not about that. So I think that's important to point out. It's not a money-making exercise. It's simply a case of moving the uniform forward in the way that we've outlined. There's not a penny to be gained from school by doing that. In fact, we're out of pocket because we're funding some additional uniforms in addition to being on hand for any families that are finding it difficult with things. And if there are families listening to this that think I'm struggling a little bit to fund this or fund that, as I put in the letter, ring school, talk to our family learning mentor, and school will support that. We will not let finance be an issue in terms of uniform. I've said that many times, just as I said with the remote learning offer and the access to digital devices. We will not let finance be an obstacle or an issue here at Mayfield. Okay, next things. We've got just some updates on the COVID-19 situation. Disappointingly, we had a confirmed case in school this week as per the correspondence I've sent out, and it meant the Year 4 bubble had to disappear for the rest of this week. They will, on countback, be able to return on Monday, which is very good news. So they've only had limited numbers of days with the remote digital learning offer. I put on the letter itself to wider school my own disappointment that we still have an approach of closing bubbles. It was ironic that at the same time you've seen this further explosion of COVID cases across the country in schools, and it's been very much in the press this week nationally about the government having to come up with a plan B. I've made my views clear to them about the fact that we cannot keep closing bubbles from now for the next 3 or 4 years. It cannot happen. It cannot work like that. We need to move into a different situation. I'm not happy about school being closed to Year 4s or any bubble at all. I want school open. But what I do accept is that there has to be a sensible alternative. It can't simply be just, right, well, school's open, whatever, there you go. I get the fact there's got to be a sensible alternative there, and it's not an easy decision for the government and health officials to make, but I don't think closing bubbles randomly now for the next 2 or 3 years is going to be an ideal solution at all. We're here, we're open, the staff have been at work every day since we returned in January. We're here, we're ready to learn, and we are as frustrated as you guys about things. Just a little point, one or two people have mentioned this week about if children are isolating, one or two are then sort of making a journey to school to pick up a sibling. And they might have said, well, that shouldn't be the case. They can't do this, they can't do that. It's an interesting point because I asked about whether siblings of children in Year 4 should also be isolating when I spoke to London about things. And they said, no, siblings should come into school as normal. And I think some people think that's a bit of a contradiction. I'm not sure where I stand on it. I think there's lots of contradictions regarding isolation and systems like that at the moment. But the advice is that siblings should continue to come into school. Now, if that's the case, there are parents that will have a child that's meant to be isolating and a child or children that are meant to be in school. And what do? If there's nobody else at home to look after the child, they can't leave a child home alone, but yet they've got a duty to bring the sibling to school. And as head teacher, what do I say to them? It's a difficult one. Don't bring this child with you to collect the other children, but they've got to be in school. So I don't think I've got an answer to that. I just think it's a general contradiction that the government have to look at, and it is as it is. It isn't a simple answer. Fine if there's another adult at home that's there and in that bubble and can look after them. But if you consider those children are meant to be isolating, so others can't come and supervise them that aren't in the bubble, and yet there might only be one parent anyway that can do the two jobs, how can they have one child at home and then the others at school being dropped off and collected? I haven't got an answer to that. So really that's where we are with it. I think, again, that's something for the government to look at and think about carefully around all this bubble closure and isolation. But that's why some people have asked about that, and that's why really I can't answer that, because I don't have an answer. Some have to be in school, but yet some are isolating. What do parents do? Do they stay at home and drop off at the same time? Well, they can't. You'll have children home alone, and you'll have a safeguarding matter. So it's something, again, that the government have to look at in terms of how they approach bubble closures and isolation and siblings and all of that issue. And to be honest, it's beyond my own management. That's something that we have to take guidance upon and go with that. There are contradictions. We've known that for a long time, but we're doing our best to live with those. So I just ask for patience and understanding on that matter. I generally know as much as you do about some of these things. Further update, the Meet the Teacher date in September, the Open School Meet the Teacher date, which is, we hope, your chance to come in, have a look round our new school effectively that you haven't had a chance to do, say a socially distanced hello to new classroom and new teachers. I did mention about it being on Wednesday the 8th of September. There is unfortunately an event on that night that we can't avoid for a few members of staff. So Thursday the 9th of September is the updated date for that. So it'll happen, it's just the following night, the Thursday. We hope we can get you into school. We want to. And if we get that green light, it means you can just see the classrooms in person. You can meet the teachers in person. All I need is the green light from the relevant people around that. But it will be Thursday, the 9th of September. And just on the question of new classes, the Year 6 children will get to know their classes today, or the Year 5s that will be Year 6s in September. They'll get that news today alongside yourselves. And then next Friday there is the transition morning, where all the children will go to meet their new teacher in their new classrooms, and that's at 9:15 till 11:30, and that's next Friday morning, so a week from now. So it's all that transition work is very much starting in the next few days. I mentioned the pop-up shop, further mention for that one, important point that. I'd like to just relate something that's been happening. It's fabulous in Year 3 this week. We've had a Light and Shadows science thematic day, or paired of thematic days, where the children have been putting together ultraviolet puppet shows with our ultraviolet puppet company that have been coming in and working with school. We were so hoping we could get parents in to see the outcomes to the children's work, because what they've made is fabulous. But I know that the teachers have been filming it and are aiming to put that on Purple Mask so you can see all that and you can view the film. And I know our puppeteers came out to wave to everyone at the end of school yesterday as well. Our hope initially was that you could all come and see the show, then we could do some paid shows at night with some magic shows and children's entertainers, but we can't at the minute, but they will be back next year to do the same. So Year 3 parents, have a look out for the UV Ultraviolet Spectacular Science Show. I think you'll really like it. It's been a fabulous way for children to learn about light, dark, shadows, how all that works, how light moves, how it reflects back. It's been a fabulous couple of days, and I encourage you to take a look at that. Another example of our new curriculum really bringing learning to life, and I think the Year 3 children really enjoyed that. The theme days have been a real success this term in the new curriculum, and we're looking forward to carrying those on in autumn term. So, lots of small bits of news, lots of small bits to share as we reach the end of term. There'll be more to share next week in our bulletin as we count down to the summer break. So, stay safe, fingers crossed that the transmission rates in the area do peak and do head in the right direction. So have a nice weekend, and I will speak to you all again next week. Take care.